I'm scared about my future as an artist. And if you're an artist, you should be too. Because today, artists have become pawns of a greater game. How dramatic! I'm scared for my future as an artist. And if you're an artist, if you are engaged on the art scene, you should be too. I'm really sorry to be the one who says this, but the art scene is under the influence of neoliberalism. And what are we doing about it? Not much. Not much. And I dare to say this because we can already see a lot of changes in the way that we perceive and treat the artworks, the artist, in the social function that art has in society. We've even adopted business terms. We've completely changed the way we address ourselves and the things that we do. So, yes, this is not a conspiracy theory. I'm gonna tell you today, right now, what's going on. So listen carefully. Because my own conclusions to the reasons why we have not done anything about this, it's due to the lack of awareness. I sincerely hope that it's because you guys don't know what's going on, that there's not a revolt already and we're not outside fighting for our rights as artists and fighting for what we love. Because if you know about this, and you've decided to not do anything, shame on you. I said it, I know, it sounds horrible, but it's the truth. If you like a little bit art, you should be revolting. We should be together right now discussing what to do. And I hope that this video enlightens you. Sorry, my pronunciation. You can read the subtitles if you don't understand me. I hope that after this, a fire lights inside of you and we can come together and revolt together and change the world. Now, with further ado, let's get right to the topic. I'm gonna try and divide this into explaining how this influence has changed the artist, the way we perceive and treat the artist, and then I will move on to how it has changed the artworks and society. I'm going to blend these two together because it's very difficult to talk about the artworks without their function and their relation to the other. It's also a bit difficult to talk about the artist without the artwork, but I'll do my best. So you don't get mixed up. This can become a bit chaotic. It's a very complex topic. But well, first of all, for those who are not sure about what neoliberalism is, I'm going to briefly outline it so we know what we're talking about. Now, neoliberalism, maybe I should write it. Neoliberalism is a political philosophy. It's a political philosophy of some greedy people that they think they know about human nature and economics, and they think they know how to organize labor and how to organize the market and every single public good in a way that it accumulates capital, and importantly, capitalism accumulates the capital in the pockets of the rich. So, to say it straight, it's an ideology to make the rich become richer. It's an ideology that foments inequalities, that foments precarity, and it just destroys everything. How do they do it? Well, I'm not sure if to say it now or you will wait and see, because I will mention most of the things later on. Well, let's say it now. I'll spoil you a little bit the video. Oh wait. Oh, I actually just said it. They privatize public goods, they deregulate the market. Oh my god. I don't know where my head is today, I already said it. Let's start then. First and foremost, well, first step, first section, first chapter. We're gonna look at how the learning objectives are to understand how neoliberalism influences the artist. Well, should have used beep beep, a technological one. Now, first point. The artist has lost their autonomy. And this has happened because there has been a shift on the power dynamics. You see, one of the aims of neoliberalism is to reduce the state control. Why? So they can take control. Yes. I don't know how they did it, but governments from all over the world started to cut the financial help for artists. Some governments more than others, but in a general sense, all of them has done that. And that made the artists wonder, okay, but now what do I do? How do I get that money? Where do I get the money to buy materials, to make my artworks, to make exhibitions? How do I transport my artworks? And the private corporations, as they expected, they said, don't worry, my dear, I will give you that money. And in the moment that we took the money, we became economically dependent on them. In that moment, a shift of power has taken place. Why? Because it's their money, it's private capital, and they have the right to put conditions. And they're a business. They think in a rational and logical way. They think like a business. They want to make profits, and that's the very first aim of neoliberalism, maximize profits. So they immediately, when these conditions are set, the behaviors of the artists have to adapt, they have to change, and they have to adopt this way of managing their artistic practice, which just resembles like a business. Yes. So we've not only lost our autonomy, in essence, we've lost our freedom, our control to make art the priority of art. No, I'm so sorry, that's not the case anymore. I thought that I wrote it, but I have it here, deposited it. Please remember this sentence. Multinationals are not philanthropes. Okay? They were not going to give you the money for free. Of course not. A multinational doesn't become a multinational by giving things for free. It was the very first step for them to start taking control and allow their influence to grow and grow and grow. And we helped them. But at the same time, I'm gonna mention a quote before. Noam Chomsky once said, "If capital is privately controlled, then people will have to rent themselves in order to survive." Now you can say, they rent themselves freely. It's a free contract. But that's a joke. Because if your choice is do what I tell you or starve, that's not a joke. That's not a choice. So, yeah, I get why some artists took that money in the first place. Because we didn't have any options. We were pushed to do that. It was either starving or just stop making art. But yeah, in doing so, we became entrepreneurs. Third point, artists became an entrepreneur. And I know you may be thinking, entrepreneur, that doesn't sound that weird or that bad. That's to the degree that this influence has infiltrated within our world. We've changed our language and it's been completely normalized to call an artist an entrepreneur. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to tell you, but an artist is not an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is the one who thinks rationally, who thinks logically, who looks at their decisions and looks at the costs and benefits and see what's going to maximize their production and maximize their profit, become more efficient. Entrepreneurs have products, they sell that product. The artist just doesn't. The artist has an artwork. They don't make that artwork to win money. They don't have an external drive. We have an intrinsic need. I have an intrinsic need to create artworks. It comes out of my heart. Our intentions and motivations are polar opposites. So, please, come on. At least we could just stop calling ourselves entrepreneurs. We're not like that. And you know what? In psychology, they say that when you think in a certain way, you behave in a certain way, and you start feeling in a certain way. So if we start thinking like an entrepreneur and behaving like an entrepreneur, we're gonna feel like one. And no. Because you know what? A competition in order to be, and a business in order to become successful, they inspire you to be competitive, you know, and just this way of oh my god, I'm mixing myself up. We adopt this business-like way of going about our artistic practice. This just foments us to become as well competitive, and actually that's what has happened. Today the art scene is divided into winners and losers. Today you are a winner if you have fame and fortune. Well, fame and fortune is only data. Everything is reduced to numbers. And I'm so sorry, but are you really... Oh, sorry, I have a hiccup. Are you really a winner if you have a lot of money? Are you a winner if a lot of people know you? No, not in my opinion, but well. What I want to say, or to arrive to the point that I want to arrive to now, is that artists became the embodiment of neoliberalism. You know, an entrepreneur is the embodiment of neoliberalism. And if an artist today is an entrepreneur, we too are the embodiment of neoliberalism. And to make it more simple, this point, I'm going to add another word, another label, concept. The material worker reinforces neoliberalism. And the artist and the entrepreneur are immaterial workers today. I mean, you know, the three of these three labels are polar opposites. Yes, I think that, but today they're not. So I'm just gonna jumble them together, and if I talk about one or the other, they're just the same. If I have to continue repeatedly naming the three of them, whoa, it's gonna be very difficult. It's gonna become very confusing, this discourse. So now, Another aim of neoliberalism is to reorganize labor. And the way that they have reorganized it is by introducing this new way of working, that is the immaterial laborer, worker. And they are using the artists there as their role models for this immaterial worker. Now, they have gotten art and labor, they've jumbled it up together, and they are using it as a role model, but not only for within the art scene, but for the workforce of the whole world. So this also affects you if you don't engage in art or are not within the art scene. This is going to affect you. Now let's look at what the immaterial labor is. The immaterial labor is the labor that is not considered actual work. Why? Because it's not material. I'll give you an example. For example, that time thinking of an idea for an artwork, that time is work. But it wouldn't be considered actual work because it's not tangible. Now, maybe another example. The time going to the artsy-fartsy parties, expanding your network, creating connections, that time is part of your work. But it wouldn't be considered actual work. Why? Because when does it stop being work and it starts being leisure time? So here is the thing, that the material worker is the one who blends together their life and their work to the point where you don't know when one starts and when one finishes. And I know, artists have always done this, even before, it's not like neoliberalism made us work that way, but they have gotten that behavior that artists have to, and they've made this be like the example to everybody. And I'm gonna tell you, it's already difficult for artists to learn how to set some limits and manage that and make a bit of differentiation between working and our lives. So if they aim to vanish the possibility of creating these limits, if they want you to just jumble everything together, it's just not going to work. In Spain, we say, trabaja para vivir, no vivas para trabajar. I'll translate. Work to live, don't live to work. And today we live to work. But you know what happens when these two are blended together? That your whole life becomes a reality show. That you have to change your subjectiveness, align to the more likable traits, because you have to constantly be creating and curating this other persona that's gonna make yourself become a brand in order for your work to be sold. And that's exhausting. That genuinely is exhausting. And to be honest, it threatens your originality, your subjectiveness. It threatens your identity. Everybody's gonna become robots and be the same, do the same. Today everybody has to become politically correct and always smile, or be sociable, careful with what you say, because you can offend anyone today with anything, even if you don't intend to. I'm changing direction of the topic. Let's stick to what I was saying. The thing is that this is not the only thing. This is not the only characteristic of the material labor and the artist and the entrepreneur today. Neoliberalists saw potential in their being creative. They have transformed this creativity into some kind of machine. Now you have to be creative constantly. You have to become some kind of machine that always has ideas and always constantly creating signs and symbols. And you know why? I'll tell you why. I'll give you first a little bit of context so you understand better the story. The material worker started or appeared around post-Fordism. This was the time where, in simple terms, businesses realized that the market would stagnate if they continued to sell an object for its functionality. So there was a change on the sign order value, and they decided indeed to create signs, to create symbols, to create this story around the object, because that way it's just impossible for the market to stagnate, because you can always invent a new story. And they decided that these stories and these signs and symbols were gonna directly point towards your most secret desires. So you kind of like whenever you feel kind of for very, very short period fulfilled. Now, if this is not clear, I'll give you a very quick example. So you wouldn't buy, today you don't buy a car because it goes from A to B. You buy a car because this car means that you're cool, that you're sexy, that you're from an upper high class. You get what I'm saying? It's the story around the car that it's sold, not the actual car. And now, back to what I was saying, creativity. Oh my god, they just don't understand anything about what it is to be creative. They have gotten creativity and made it become an essential part of your work. You see, two main characteristics of the material labor is to create the creation of informational content of commodities and cultural content of commodities. Maurizio Lazzaro explained this very well, but I will again very shortly say it. Basically, it's all of the activities that relate to creating or the production of knowledge through cybernetics. So it's activities that define consumer norms and fashion, trades, public opinions. They create knowledge, they create designs, and they use it mainly through social media, through the computer, and that's it. And if we want to talk about philosophy, if we want to go into a deeper level of how this is super bad, this is blurring the lines between the real and the imaginary. Baudrillard already explained it in his work Simulacra and Simulation. We live on a hyper-real today. We live on a huge simulacrum where signs and symbols just are on an overload momentum. It's just too much, and we are losing contact with the reality. People are just gonna end up having an existential crisis because you don't know anymore the differences between imaginary and real. But well, stop with philosophy. This is another topic, and let's not get in there. If not, we will never finish this explanation of how we become the embodiment of neoliberalism. Now, here's the thing, that if this ruins the artist in the way that we are forced to always have a big ass portfolio and work super quickly, and be creative, so we are a reliable asset to be bet on. So stop thinking that you have the time to think and create and you can be 1, 2 or 5 years working on a project. No. Be quick, because if not, you won't be reliable, and you're just going to be labeled as lazy, and no institution, no residency, no gallery will bet on you. And for the other work side, I've already said it just brings exhaustion, because you cannot be creative at all times. And let's leave it there. Last point of of last point. Oh. Either the work from the artist or the material labor coincidentally make the rich become richer. So what a coincidence that this way of organizing labor just ticks the goals of neoliberalism. I think that I'm not crazy. I think that there's a clear link. And the fact that they're using the artist and some of the things that the artist does as a role model, and they, of course, and this role model and the things that they do, the artist, of course, kind of changing them, because again, I do think that there are differences, but they are not differences anymore. It's just horrible. They are using the artist as their puppet, and this is the thing, that the artist of today has become a puppet. And even if now you tell me, hey, I'm a pure artist, I am not a puppet, I am not an entrepreneur, I'm still autonomous or whatsoever, that's great. I hope that I am not a puppet either. But you're still going to be influenced, because even if you stick to your ideals and you don't accept all of this, you are surrounded by an art scene that has, and they are also still gonna look at you as a puppet. I'm so sorry, but nobody can escape this. You won't feel like a puppet, but people will treat you as a puppet. So yeah, I think this was enough for the artist. Let's move on. Now, second section. To understand how neoliberalism influenced art and society. I'll stand up this time. Okay. I've mixed the two. I already said it before. Yeah, it's very difficult to not talk about the two. Now, of course, if they affected the artist, they also affect what they do, the artwork. And they saw a lot of potential on what we do to make them benefit. So they got the artworks and transformed them into a tool. They gave them a new use. And what was this new use? Don't worry, my dear, I'm gonna tell you what it is. First and for most obvious reasons, it's as a tool to make money. Now, an exhibition today won't be decided upon a subjective judgment. It's gonna be purely economical. It's gonna be, what does the public want? What's gonna sell the most tickets? What artworks are on trend, on fashion, follow what the public desires? That's it. Yeah. As a means to make money. All about money. Now this is not the only one. There's more. An exhibition won't only be decided upon subjective, what am I saying? An economical judgment. It's also the perfect opportunity for them to choose what topics to sponsor. What I'm talking about is that they're curating the narrative of the art scene. They are curating what the public is gonna focus on. This is the globalization of art. Do you understand what this means? This means that bye-bye diversity, bye-bye, it's not there anymore. Nations, the world, the globe, is gonna specifically look at what you want, and of course they're gonna choose topic that benefits them. I think that was pretty clear, maybe I shouldn't have said it, but just to highlight it, that this is very dangerous. And this is horrible. You know, Hegel theorized that critiques creates, it's a form of dialogue. And this possibility to criticize and one have one opinion and the other one another is completely vanished if they globalize art. Are we your minions that are just gonna tell you like market advertise what you want? Apparently we are. And the thing that pisses me the most about this is that in the meantime they look great. They look great. Why? Because they're helping the poor artists, because they're giving their money to art and culture. Oh, thank you very much. What am I doing here? I should be having a thank you videos. Thank you for transforming art into a big bunch of bullshit. Thank you so much. Now, this is not only it, because they also take the opportunity of the exhibitions to promote their own products and have huge banners of their own products. They take the exhibitions on the art openings and whatsoever, also for them to expand their own networks. Because, yeah, it's a relaxed environment where you can have a chill talk about how to increase your wealth. We just became their playground. We just make nice rooms with a bunch of decorations for them to have a laugh. My goodness. Let's move on. If not, I'm gonna need a moment. This is giving me pain. Physical pain. Now, art is no longer art. I'm gonna write. Art is no longer art. This is gonna be very straightforward. Why? Because if art today is a means to make money, that's a P-R-O-D-U-C-T. It's a product. And a product is not art. A product will never function as an artwork. A product is a product. It's never, ever, ever gonna be art. Works. Artist. They're never gonna, a product, it's just never gonna function as an artwork. It's never gonna like evoke emotions and evoke feelings, provoke thoughts, make you grow in any way. It's just a decoration. It's just maybe an asset, something to brag about. And it's very sad. Because here's the thing. There are artists that are purposely making products, which let's call it commodification of art. They have commodified. It's just commercial art, and let's blame them. Hey, super bad, super horrible. Do you think you're an artist? You're an intoxicated artist? Better say, you truly are an entrepreneur. But the other side, and the sad side, is that to me, for example, to the pure artist that love art and whatsoever, the one who doesn't want to be, who's not a puppet, but is going to be treated as a puppet, well, their artworks won't also have the time of the day to be able to provoke, or will just not be able to evoke emotions and anything like that. Why? Because we have learned to look at artworks as a product, as an asset, as a decoration. So even if it's a powerful artwork, even if it actually has the capability to do all of those beautiful things, it's just not going to do it. It's just not. Because today, art is no longer art. They've made art just have a new use, it's transformed, it has transcended into bullshit. So, I'm so sorry, but they're just not gonna use it. Let's look at an example so you understand my point. I'm gonna use famous names that everybody knows, so you can reflect with me. Banksy. Banksy, everybody has heard his name at least once, or at least has seen in some of his work somewhere. Banksy purposely makes his artworks on the streets, so they're accessible to everybody, so it's not part of the market, so it's not part of this business bullshit. But even him has suffered from all of this influence, because big corporations has taken his art and has transformed it into merchandising, where you can buy in any museum gift shop. I wasn't gonna say this, but I think that maybe it's good. I'm a bit ashamed though. I own a Banksy t-shirt. Aww. I got it gifted, okay? I got it gifted. But I'm very ashamed to say that at the very start, the very first thought that I had was, how cool, I have a Banksy t-shirt. Aww. I know, don't judge me, I know. And then I thought, no, Nicole, no. You're allowing all of this this influence to really be big and real, because you, who know all of this, you're allowing artworks to be treated as merchandising. You're just. You should be boycotting them, not being happy that you own a Banksy t-shirt. Banksy would be ashamed of you. Aww. So even to the best, it happens. This influence is real. I'm the living example that this is real. Now, I'm telling you this story because even to demonstrate that even if you're a pure artist, can you escape this influence? I don't know, he definitely wasn't able to, so yeah, sad, oh my god, this is becoming super pessimistic. But wait, we're artists, we can change the world, don't worry, my dear. Now, oh my god, can't we? Can't we change the world? I'm going to get some coffee, 1 second. there, sorry. Okay. So yes. Products are shallow, empty, and they won't be able to communicate. So let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. Now, this means that the social function of art has been destroyed. Because if art no longer exists, how can it have a social function? It's as straightforward as that. Once upon a time, art allowed one to grow. It enriched their mind and body. It made them be able to think critically. It taught them about freedom and about how our society is a big construct where there's norms, yeah, but they're not set on stone. In art, you could figure out that you have power and that you have a voice and that you certainly can construct your own reality. You don't have to listen to all of these norms that seem so straightforward and so real. You don't, because they're not real. It's just a big bunch of people who believe that they are valid and they are real, and therefore they become real. So don't worry, my dear, that you can fight it. And now, this beautiful function that allowed societies to grow and enlighten them can no longer happen. Because art is not there anymore. Art is extinguishing because we don't perceive it nor treat it as art. And even if you do, the vast majority doesn't. So then, artworks don't function without the other. I mean, they're not, do they even exist if there's not another? You know, this question of does the artwork of the attic exist? Well, if nobody sees it. But, oh my god, I'm entering again in philosophy, I'm so sorry. Let's keep it clear. The thing is that you won't learn about freedom and anything if you won't enrich yourself if art is no longer there. So, with that being said, I'll ask you again, why aren't we fighting? This problem is not only of the art scene or the artist, it's about everyone. It's about the whole nations, the globe. I know that I've just been talking about the artist, but this affects everyone within the art scene. I know that I also talked a bit bad about the exhibition, the people who organize the exhibition, but they are also being threatened by, they also receive the money from big corporations. They don't blame them, it's directly blame the big corporations. We are all being threatened. And let's get together. You know, Noam Chomsky, in his book On Anarchism, you can find it in bol.com for $9.99, also describes the core ideology of anarchism. And he says, well, I won't find it, I know it by heart. Basically, he says that this core ideology says that any form of hierarchy, any form of authority structures should self-justify. They should prove themselves legitimate. And if they fail to do so, they should be dismantled. As easy as that. And I think that I gave enough reasons to dismantle this ideological bullshit of neoliberalism. Neoliberalists use words of liberalists, they tell you that you're gonna, if you do what they say, or follow this way of these ideologies and follow these mechanisms that they have transformed, you will become free and independent, autonomous and whatsoever. But really, that's not the case. That's not the case. I hope that you realize after all of this blah 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 that I've been doing, this is not the case. And let's dismantle it. Let's get together. Maybe I'm very naive and very romantic, but I believe that we can change the world. I still believe that art has that power, that we can get together, verbalize this problem and shout and do something about it. Maybe you know the answer. You know what? I'm gonna leave my contact details in the credits so you can contact me if you know, and if you don't know, if you want to help and get together, just keep me up. I'll be waiting for you. I can't do this alone. I need you. I want you. Now, thank you very much. I hope that you're scared. I hope that you're enraged. I hope that you want to fight. It's been a pleasure to talk about this. I'm Nicole Cowper. And this is the end. Thank you.